Hi, I'm Juliet Cowley, a retired FBI profiler and host of the true crime podcast, The Consult, Real FBI Profilers. If you're fascinated with true crime and criminal profiling, then join us as we discuss real cases and examine the behavior exhibited before, during, and after the commission of the crime. You can listen to The Consult wherever you get your podcasts. It's as close as it gets to being in the room with the FBI's Behavioral Analysis Unit.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 435 of the True Crime All the Time Unsolved podcast. I'm Mike Ferguson, and with me, as always, is my partner in true crime, Mike Gibson. Gibby, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm having a great week, man.
Awesome.
And I just love being in the studio.
Well, you live in the studio.
Yeah, but I like it when you're here and we're actually recording our episodes.
So do I.
That's the fun part of the week.
It's the highlight of my week.
Yeah, the research, all of that is what you have to do.
Yeah.
To get to the fun part, which is talking through the case and all of that.
I mean, I know you probably think I enjoy coming here for the free food.
Yeah, you do.
But it's really for the company.
Never turn down a free meal in your life. Let's go ahead and give our Patreon shout outs. We had Cassie Lowe Hunter.
Hey, Lowe Hunter.
Missy McClellan.
What's going on, MM?
Kimberly Gibson.
You can never go wrong with that name.
With the Gibson.
Yeah.
Chris Basham.
Hey, Chris.
Marguerite Puente McGowan.
Puente McGowan.
Daniel Anderson.
What's going on?
Bethany M.
You didn't let me get Anderson.
Sorry.
Anderson.
You're taking too long.
I know.
Bethany M.
Hey, Bethany.
And last but not least, Kevin Clark.
Hey, Mr. Kevin.
And then if we go back into the vault, this week we selected Katie Dawson.
The awesome Katie. Thank you.
Yeah, so we appreciate the new support, the continued support. We have a brand new episode out right now on True Crime All the Time where we're talking about Tiffany Boyer. She went missing from Albuquerque in August 2015 after accusing a local named Machete Bob of rape. But then Machete Bob disappeared shortly before Tiffany did. So investigators had to figure out how these two disappearances were linked and who all was involved. And it really is kind of a mysterious tangled web of people.
It's a jacked up case, man.
It is, but very interesting.
Very interesting.
Make sure you check that out. All right, buddy. Are you ready to get into this episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved?
I am ready.
We're talking about Megan Trussell. 18-year-old Megan Trussell walked out of her college dorm at UC Boulder on the night of February 9th, 2025. Days later, her body was found in a ravine off campus. Officially, her death was declared a suicide, but her family does not agree with that ruling, and they've started their own investigation to find out what happened to Megan. And this isn't the first case we've done that a death has been ruled by authorities as a suicide, but the family doesn't agree with it at all, and they've set out to try to, either figure out what really happened or find information that would change that ruling.
Look, the family deserves to get the answers they need to either agree with the findings or take the case in another direction.
Well, I would say they deserve to know the truth.
Yeah.
For sure. Megan Trussell was born on September 12th, 2006. She grew up in Denver with her older sister and her parents, Vanessa Diaz and Joe Trussell. The parents recently asked a major media outlet to keep the sister's name out of the story. So, we'll honor that request and do the same. Megan's parents later divorced and co-parented their daughters. Vanessa described Megan as creative, sensitive, and sweet. But she also had a dark but incredible sense of humor, according to a statement made to 9 News.
I love that.
Yeah, I mean, everybody loves a person who has a great sense of humor. Now, what does dark sense of humor mean? maybe a little off the beaten path of what other people find funny. I'm not like picturing the macabre, but who knows?
I mean, I've said some things that I thought were funny that other people didn't find funny, but
yeah, I don't know if that's a dark sense of humor or you just are not as funny as you think you are. I'm not sure. Megan loved the arts. She enjoyed drawing in her sketchbook. She played the bass and listened to many genres of music. She was interested in the film industry as well. Some of her favorite movies were Knives Out and The Birdcage.
Two really good movies.
Yeah, I really love Knives Out. And I like the second one too.
And there's a third one getting ready to drop.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll like that one as well.
And I love The Birdcage. Robin Williams, he was hilarious in that.
Yeah, he was. Megan also spoke Spanish and looked forward to studying abroad in Spain one day. And here's the one thing that I often think about, when we talk about some of these individuals who go missing or who are the victims of, a murder, especially an unsolved murder. I feel like, especially when we're talking about younger people, and Megan was only 18 years old.
Yeah.
They've done a heck of a lot with their lives.
That's true.
I look back at myself at 18. There's certainly no one who could have said all of the same accomplishments about me.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, what the hell did I do during that time frame?
Some of these people, it just makes it even sadder that they just seem like such great people and they were such go-getters. It always leads to that question. What would these people have done with their lives in the future?
That's true.
Had whatever it is that we're going to talk about not happen to them. After graduating high school in 2024, Megan enrolled at the University of Colorado Boulder as a film student. Megan was a week into her freshman year when she texted her dad, "I just had my first film class and my assignment is to watch a movie and then comment on it, college rules." Okay. That's not a bad assignment.
That's actually a pretty cool assignment.
Yeah. I remember my freshman year of college, I took the history of rock and roll thinking, how hard could that be? It was the hardest class of my entire college career. You think about, I know rock and roll.
Yeah.
They went back to like Robert Johnson days and you had to know the artist, the year. And this is a very long time ago because I'm old. There was no iPhone to look this stuff up in the middle of the test like they have nowadays.
You're thinking it could just be some of your weekend VJ, not even VJ back then, weekend DJ stuff.
Yeah, it was the hardest class, and I'm not lying about that. But this also reminds me of my two daughters. I have one that just graduated with her graduate degree.
Yeah.
My other one is a junior in college. So over the last number of years, I've gotten a lot of these texts, right? Good and bad, about what's going on in school. Megan was last seen leaving campus on the night of February 9th, 2025. That night, Megan had a fight with her roommate and her new boyfriend after the roommate found them being intimate in their room. Per People, Megan and her boyfriend got into an argument about what happened. He broke up with her and blocked her on his phone, according to one police report. Megan left Hallett Hall, her dorm building, at 9:36 p.m. and was seen walking alone on campus. She was last seen on security footage at 9:52 p.m. Megan was heading in the direction of her sister's apartment, but she never showed up. Megan's sister was also a student at the university. So again, I'm drawing a lot of parallels here to my own life. Both of my girls went to the same college,
right,
until the oldest just recently came home. A detective later wrote in a report, it was unusual for Megan to walk anywhere. This type of behavior was out of character for her. And I wasn't really sure what to make of that. The only thing I could think of is that she drove to all her classes, because you think about being on a college campus, there's a lot of walking.
There is.
For most students.
And typically, at least around here, When you're a freshman, you can't bring your car to campus.
Yeah, I know a lot of universities are like that. Not all of them. But if you're living in a college dorm, a lot of times there's no need to drive to your class. It's just a walk.
It's kind of like the purpose of living on campus, right?
Yeah. So it was a strange statement. I wasn't sure what to make of it. Megan's roommate assumed she was staying with her older sister. Cell data shows Megan traveled west towards Boulder Canyon Drive. Her last phone signal was recorded near the 40-mile marker. Her phone stopped connecting to networks on February 12th. Megan's parents contacted the police on the 12th after they realized she hadn't been responding to their messages. Vanessa texted Megan on the evening of February 8th, making plans for a cousin's birthday party the next weekend. Megan told her she was going to hang out with her boyfriend. On Sunday, February 9th, Vanessa didn't text Megan again until Tuesday, February 11th. Megan didn't respond, but it wasn't unusual for her to wait a day to text her mom back.
See, so if that's typical, then you're not concerned, right? You're like, I'm not going to hear from her because I typically don't hear from her for that type of time frame.
Yeah, I mean, it's not unusual for kids to wait a day, right, to respond to a text. I think that's fairly normal.
It could be 3 days before I hear from Chase. I'll send him a message, and I'm like, I know he's got it. I've been around him. I see him look at his phone, but I'm still left on unread.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like,
well, he's also a 20-something-year-old man living in California.
Yeah.
He's got some things going on.
Yeah, he's a little busy.
On February 12th, Joe Trussell wanted to take Megan out to lunch, but she didn't answer his text. Joe texted Vanessa to ask if she'd heard from Megan, and I think it was at that point, Gibby, that they kind of both realized something was wrong. And I get that. My wife has communication with my daughters that I don't see. And I might have communication with them that she doesn't see.
Yeah, that happens.
But if we're sitting at dinner saying, hey, I haven't talked to so-and-so in a couple of days, and my wife says, I haven't either. They're not returning texts. At some point, it's going to dawn on parents that something might be wrong because they haven't heard back.
We might have a problem here.
Vanessa checked Megan's cell phone account online and realized the phone hadn't been used since Sunday at 8:45 p.m. Vanessa said about checking Megan's phone activity per 9 News, there's no data usage, which is very unlike her because you could tell like she watches movies because she's a film student, so she streams a lot of movies. No outgoing texts, no outgoing phone calls, nothing.
That's a concern because she's a college student.
Well, what 18-year-old is not on their phones all the time? So for any period of time really to go by with no data usage whatsoever, no text, no nothing,
right?
I would be concerned. Joe also said it's very unlike her to not be in contact. She's very compassionate with parents when it comes to keeping in touch. She understands that all we want is a text. So to not receive that from her is a red flag. On February 14th, the Colorado Bureau of Investigation issued a missing Indigenous person activation for Megan. Megan's parents also offered a $10,000 reward for information.
Pretty healthy.
It is. But, as we've talked about many times, the higher reward that you can offer, the better. Doesn't mean you're going to get information, but it could mean that you're more likely to. On the morning of February 15th, Megan's body was found near the 40-mile marker on Boulder Canyon Drive. 2 park rangers found her body on an incline near a drainage culvert and creek. About 2 inches of snow covered her body. All that was visible was her face and hair.
Such a shocking discovery.
Yeah, I think it would be for anyone. And then, obviously as a parent, it's going to be devastating to find out that your son or daughter is dead. But I think also to start to get some of the details of it, that's got to be tough. Megan's name wasn't immediately released, but police did say the body matched the description of a missing student from UC Boulder. Megan's parents said that rescuers searching Boulder Canyon were focused on that area because of a ping from her cell phone. Family friend Judy Bricado, who helped with the search, said Megan's phone pinged in the canyon around 10:45 p.m. Sunday. It last pinged at 11:55 p.m. that night. Boulder Canyon Drive was temporarily closed to allow investigators to recover the body. Megan was found in what was called hard-to-reach terrain, requiring first responders to rappel to get to her. So, I think that does paint a picture. When you say ravine, that can mean a lot of different things. But then when you find out that first responders have to actually rappel down to get to her, then obviously it is hard to get to.
So do you have to ask how she got there?
Well, I think that's going to be a huge question. Denver 7 spoke to volunteers of a search party and reported that authorities were working to recover the body in the same general area that volunteers had previously searched. Judy Bricado told Denver 7 that Megan wasn't a hiker. She also left her dorm in white platform sneakers. And what does that mean? She probably wasn't out trying to hike or mountain climb at 11 p.m. at night.
Right.
Wearing white sneakers. So let's take that off the table. According to People, volunteers who were looking into reports of a homeless encampment in the area found a backpack full of clothing, which wasn't Megan's, and nearby an empty prescription bottle of Adderall with Megan's name on it. Authorities searched Megan's room and found 3 empty prescription bottles in her dorm. Megan's autopsy was performed on February 18th. The sheriff's office announced that based on the investigation so far, we do not believe that there is or was a threat to the community.
What are they saying there?
That we don't have a crazed killer out there, or we don't think we do. So the public doesn't need to be alarmed. It also could be that they're hinting at, without actually coming out and saying, that they already believe she may have ended her life. That day, the police also spoke to Megan's older sister about her state of mind. According to one report, her sister said that Megan's life was going well. Megan really liked college. She was dating someone she really liked. The only thing she didn't like was her roommate. And I think it's a very important thing to look at, right? Someone's state of mind leading up to their death, especially if, the authorities are thinking that it's a possible suicide or that they're going to rule it a suicide.
And couldn't you say a sister probably knows her sister's state of mind better than most?
Oh, I would absolutely say that. At least that's how it is with my 2 girls. Megan was looking forward to her cousin's birthday party, and her sister believed that no matter how down Megan was, she didn't think that she would kill herself. She also maintained that Megan didn't abuse Adderall. The report did note that Megan struggled with school and her parents' divorce 2 years earlier. The report stated their parents were really into grades, and it sounded like this caused Megan some issues.
There's a lot of parents into their kids' grades.
Yeah, I was going to say that too. I think a lot of kids struggle with college. School in general.
Yeah.
Right? There's a lot of pressure, both internally and externally, sometimes from parents to, excel, get good grades. And obviously a divorce is always hard on kids. Megan's sister also said that it was very strange for her to realize that Megan didn't come to her after the February 9th fight with her roommate and boyfriend. They had a bond. And Megan spent some time at her apartment when their parents separated. So these weren't sisters that, didn't hang out, didn't know each other very well, weren't close. They were.
And because she didn't go to visit her sister, then you have to wonder why.
Yeah, and that goes back to what we said earlier, right? She was heading in the direction of her sister's apartment. Was she going to talk to her maybe about some of this stuff that she hadn't yet, and then something happened that caused her, obviously not to show up, or she met foul play somewhere along the way. All questions that we have to think about. Folks, telehealth has made mental health care more convenient and accessible for millions of people. However, critical challenges like finding a suitable therapist, scheduling appointments, and the expensive out-of-pocket costs still keep many from getting the care they need. Rula is on a mission to make high-quality mental health care from a licensed professional, easy and affordable for everyone. Rula's got you covered. They take most major insurance plans, and the average copay is only $15 per session. Rula partners with a network of over 15,000 therapists and psychiatrists nationwide, enabling you to find your personalized solution and the right therapist for you based on your needs, preferences, and state requirements. Rula is committed to see you succeed in reaching your therapy goals, making sure their providers are carefully screened and vetted. Thousands have already trusted Rula to support them on their journey toward improved mental health and overall well-being. Head on over to rula.com/TCATU to get started today. After you sign up, they ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them our show sent you. Go to rula.com/TCATU and take the first step towards better mental health today. You deserve quality care from someone who cares. True Crime All the Time Unsolved is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Because Progressive offers discounts for paying in full, owning a home, and more. Plus, you can count on their great customer service to help you when you need it, so your dollar goes a long way. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save on car insurance. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations. According to the report written by a detective, I asked if she knew whether Megan had ever dealt with any kind of heartache. She said that her Spotify playlist would suggest that. When asked if she was aware of whether Megan was ever depressed, or was it anything specific, or what was it, Megan's sister said she thought it was mostly just a teenage girl thing. But her sister did acknowledge the divorce was traumatic for Megan. Joe Trussell told people that the divorce was distressing for Megan, but she handled it extremely well. Considering the circumstances, she was a strong kid.
Like you said, it's tough on kids.
It is. I don't care if you're 5 years old, 10 years old, 18, 30. Nobody really wants to see their parents split up, or at the very least, you're going to go through the range of emotions if they do.
Yeah. I remember when I separated from my ex, my son was 18 and daughter was 20, and they took it really hard.
Yeah. Because that's all they've ever known.
Yeah.
Up to that point. Now, most kids deal with it. They get through it. But at the very least, it's usually a rough patch.
Yeah, it's not going to be easy.
Emotionally. Although Megan's phone pinged near Boulder Canyon Drive, it wasn't found there. On March 2nd, Megan's phone was traced to a resale kiosk at a grocery store in Boulder. It had been sold by 50-year-old Elliot Michael Viafor, a homeless individual who said he received it from another homeless man named Travis. Travis claimed he found the phone in a purse outside the city, but didn't report it. Travis claimed he left the purse on a bike path. But this information wasn't made public until late spring. At the time she was last seen, Megan was carrying a unique handmade purse. It was blue with a red star and a red strap. On March 5th, a community member found Megan's purse near the 39.6 mile marker of Highway 36 along the bike path. This was a few miles from where Megan's body was found. So this is kind of an interesting revelation, right? It's a very unique purse. The purse is found on a bike path. You have this homeless individual who claimed they found the purse somewhere else, left it on a bike path.
Yeah. Kind of changes maybe what the police originally thought.
The person who found it looked inside and found an empty prescription bottle with Megan's name on it. So they called authorities. So this is a number of empty prescription bottles that have been found with Megan's name on it. Some outside near where her body was found, some of them inside her dorm room. Now, I don't know what to make of that, but it's a fact that, we have to keep in the back of our minds. Initially, police didn't specify where the purse was found or what was inside. However, Megan's cousin, Rebecca Perez, acting as the family spokesperson, told Denver 7 that the purse strap was torn. This led the family to believe there may have been a struggle. Perez revealed that the family only recently learned Megan was wearing one shoe when she was found. The missing shoe had not been recovered. Perez said, "It doesn't make any sense how she would have walked so far from this location to that location and where she ended up being just because her shoes are tall. She's a tiny little gal, but when she puts her shoes on, she's taller. And 3-inch platforms, it would be hard to walk on with only one."
Absolutely.
3 inches is quite a bit of a heel.
It really is.
A platform.
I mean, I know you wear 5-inch platform shoes.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about my 5-inch heels.
Well, sometimes you wear those too. That's a little strange for me, but the platforms just crack me up because, you don't really need them because you're like 6 foot something without them.
Yeah, I'm 6'2".
I don't know why you feel like you got to put these 5-inch platform shoes on.
I just want to tower over you even more.
Yeah.
Because I'm already looking down at you. I want to be looking down on you even more. But, a lot of people can relate. If you've ever had any type of heel on a shoe, and then you take one of them off and try to walk around. I mean, I've never even had a heel that was that large, but even like a dress shoe heel.
Yeah.
It feels weird.
It does.
Now you talk about 3-inch difference. That would be very strange trying to walk like that. In an update on March 12th, the sheriff's office said foul play was not suspected. And I think, this is going to be a big part of the case, right? We mentioned it up front that the family doesn't agree with the official ruling. But what does that mean? Foul play was not suspected. It could simply mean they just don't have any evidence.
Well, that's true.
Of foul play. On March 14, 2025, Elliot Michael Beafor was arrested and charged with theft and false declaration to a pawnbroker. He has since been released on bond and is expected back in court in October. And that's the thing about this case, Gibbs. I mean, it's there's a lot going on that's very recent.
Yeah, very fresh.
On May 27th of this year, the Boulder County Sheriff's Office and Coroner's Office concluded its investigation into the death of Megan Trussell. Coroner Jeff Martin said in the press release, the Office of the Boulder County Coroner, based on the examination and investigative findings available at this time, has issued an opinion that Megan Trussell died as a result of the toxic effects of amphetamine and exposure to a cold environment, basically hypothermia, contributed to her death. It's a further opinion that the manner of death is suicide. Our opinion was based on several factors, including but not limited to toxicology results and the presence of undigested prescription medication found during the examination.
So do you think they're kind of leaving it open when they say at this time and our opinion?
Well, yeah. When you say issuing an opinion, to me, that's a big distinction. Now, amphetamine is a key ingredient in Adderall. She did have a prescription for Adderall. A number of empty Adderall pill bottles were found. But I just want to break down their opinion because I'm trying to figure out how you get to suicide. Is it based on the amount of Adderall that she took being more than, let's say, what a normal dose would be? I think that would have to be a factor. Right. Now, we don't have the exact toxicology information. It just says presence of undigested prescription medication.
But for me, I would need to know
how much.
Yeah, because maybe she took some because she felt like she needed more energy to get from wherever she was. Maybe she took it for another reason.
Well, and maybe she took more than normal and got disoriented and fell down a ravine.
Right.
But that wouldn't be suicide.
No.
But if you took a whole bottle or 20 pills or something like that, okay, then that would make a little more sense. But we would need to know that. Sheriff Curtis Johnson expressed his hope that Megan's family could get some closure. The sheriff's office stated that neither of the individuals in possession of Megan's purse or phone are believed to have had any contact with her. The coroner's office, sheriff's office, and DA's office found no evidence to suggest Megan was physically harmed or killed by another person. And I understand that, right? The lack of evidence means you can't come out and say, we believe this is a homicide or this is a homicide, because there's no evidence to support that.
Right.
Now, could you say it was accidental? I think you have to have that on the table, but can you rule out any of it? Because could someone push you off down into the ravine? Well, absolutely.
Sure they could.
Could you fall because you're under the influence of, more Adderall than you should have taken?
Could someone force you to take?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or could she have decided to end her life? I mean, again, we're not privy to everything that the authorities are. And you never will be in an unsolved case. You're not even going to be in a solved case. All the information is never going to be out there. But when you say it's our opinion, it's not very definitive.
And so I wonder, why even go that route? Why not leave it unknown or
undetermined. Which we've talked about in other cases.
Yeah. Because that allows options for the investigation to still continue, right?
Yeah, I would say if you're going to declare it a suicide, then there's not going to be much, if any, more investigation at all. After the ruling, Megan's parents gave interviews expressing their doubts and frustrations with the investigation. Vanessa Diaz said she doesn't believe Megan died of suicide and is seeking a private autopsy. Vanessa also noted that Megan was prescribed Adderall to treat ADHD. Vanessa told the Denver Post, "This has been extremely painful. I feel like the Boulder County Sheriff's Office has been extremely dismissive and disrespectful. I feel powerless. Megan was so vibrant and just a happy, happy child. Anybody who knows her knows she was not suicidal. She wouldn't kill herself. She's never had any history of that." Vanessa also revealed that her friend was the one who tracked Megan's phone to the resale kiosk. According to Vanessa, her friend spent weeks walking around Boulder and speaking to people in the homeless community. She asked what they would do if they found a cell phone. One person mentioned they might try to sell it at Eco ATM, a kiosk that accepts used cell phones and other devices.
So her friend is playing detective, trying to help figure out what the heck happened to her friend.
Well, and why is Vanessa telling this? Because she thinks that the investigation was shoddy.
Yeah.
And she's kind of proving a point here, right? The police didn't track it down. Her friend tracked it down.
And why is that? Did the police have tunnel vision already?
Well, it's possible, right? If they truly thought it was a suicide, then how many resources are they devoting, if any, to, further investigation? A detective told Vanessa that Megan's phone was likely hidden in a crevasse of the canyon where her body was found. However, Vanessa filed a claim about a missing phone with Eco ATM. 2 days later, the company contacted her and said the phone had been located.
How easy was that?
Just a little legwork. She informed detectives and they obtained information about who sold the phone. Vanessa also told 9 News that the woman who found Megan's purse was riding her bike on the US 36 bike path. The woman noted that investigators didn't spend much time inspecting the area where the purse was found. The woman didn't think the police were going to tell Vanessa, so she found her information online and sent her an email. Vanessa and Joe told 9 News they believed there were problems with the investigation. They argued that the sheriff's office seemed convinced Megan's death was a suicide from the very beginning and lacked curiosity about other potential causes of death.
There's that tunnel vision.
Yeah, I was getting ready to say that kind of does go back to, your thought of, is it possible that they had tunnel vision? Well, it sure seems like Vanessa and Joe thought they did, or think they did. Joe Trussell said, "We just got the impression that maybe they were either over their heads or too busy with other cases to give this case the attention that it deserved. There was a conversation in which we were told that based on the evidence that they had, they believed that it was a suicide. And that was 2 weeks after Megan was found. So it seemed like kind of a rush to judgment." But here is the thing, Gibbs, and we've seen this in many cases very often in an unsolved case. Parents or the families of the missing or deceased loved one, they're not always happy with the police investigation. Sometimes they're very specific examples of why. Sometimes it's just because the police haven't found anything out. They haven't found out where their loved one is or who's responsible, for their death if they were found dead. But like we said, there are a number of cases that are either ruled a suicide or thought to be a suicide, and the family just doesn't agree with it. Megan's parents revealed that during their May 27th meeting with the coroner, they were informed Megan had bruising on the back of her head, chipped teeth, and blunt force trauma. But the coroner didn't believe those injuries were contributing factors in her death.
Oh, now hold on. How could you not believe that?
Well, if you believe they came from, let's say, a fall from a cliff down into a ravine, and you believe it was either a result of taking too many pills or the manner of suicide itself, that's the only thing I could come up with. And obviously you would suffer quite a few injuries in a fall like that. Now, the one thing I did want to bring up is that to me doesn't seem like a very common way to end one's life. Not that it couldn't happen. It just doesn't seem like a common way.
Well, it seems more like you were pushed or you slipped accidentally and fell. Not that you purposely chose that direction.
Yeah, because I don't think a lot of people would.
Right.
Vanessa said that to me also sounds like a struggle or something that was happening to her against her will, like shoving pills down her throat and holding her mouth with force to cause bruising on her head.
Possible.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely possible. So again, when you have all of these possibilities, then it always comes back to that question, right? Why go firmly in one direction? I get it. The amount of pills that she took might make it seem like she was trying to end her life. But what if she didn't take them willingly?
Changes the direction of the investigation.
It does. Vanessa mentioned Megan's missing shoe, but noted that her sock showed no signs. She had been walking on it, which was unusual because Megan was found in a rocky area. Senator Janice Marchman, who represents District 15, echoed the family's concerns. Her district includes the area surrounding the city of Boulder. She's been working with the family as a community volunteer since February 12th. Marchman's daughter, who also attends CU Boulder, didn't know Megan, but their dorms were adjacent. Her daughter told her that the walk up and down the hill, where a parking lot is located and where people presume Megan went, was scary. Her daughter didn't want to take her car to campus for fear of parking there. Marchman also said she's concerned the Colorado Bureau of Investigation wasn't involved in the case despite issuing a missing Indigenous persons alert. Marchman asked Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser to construct legislation that aimed at strengthening statewide investigatory standards in youth and Indigenous death cases. The family spoke with Boulder Reporting Lab in July and again said the sheriff's office failed to provide sufficient evidence to support a suicide determination and did not fully investigate other possibilities. Joe Trussell said they did the bare minimum to prove that it was a suicide and nothing more. The suicide determination was based on Megan's presumed emotional state when she left her dorm, the high level of amphetamine in her blood, and the abundant volume of pill material in her stomach. which was not tested. Megan had approximately 150 milliliters of pill material in her stomach, per the Boulder reporting lab. Sources referred to it as a softball-sized mass. Okay, that's a lot of pills.
It is.
Think of how big a softball is and how many pills would fit inside of that.
But was it voluntary or involuntary?
Well, Megan's parents believe her death should have been ruled accidental, undetermined, or even possibly homicide. Now, I don't know how you get to homicide because I don't think the evidence is there, but you could make the same argument for suicide. Is the evidence there to prove it? Or, I think as the family is suggesting, should it be ruled undetermined, which opens up the possibility for agencies to investigate?
Yeah, that would be the best way to go.
I guess my point is, Gibbs, what's the harm in undetermined? You're saying, we've got facts, but do we have enough facts to prove one way or the other? Can we prove that she took all of these pills voluntarily and planned to end her life? Can we prove that, she had an accidental fall down this ravine? Or can we prove that, somebody committed murder? And if you can't prove it, any of it, then why not just undetermined?
Yeah, and take the time you need to get some more answers.
The family believes the sheriff's office ruled out other possibilities prematurely. Vanessa said, I get it, that it would be really weird and it would be rare for somebody to force her to ingest something. But what if somebody was covering up something else that they did and the sheriff's office, just stopped looking after they saw that in her stomach? According to People, the case file shows that the family shared their concern directly with the detective. They worried that a focus on suicide would blind authorities to other evidence, but a detective reassured them they were investigating more broadly. The sheriff's office told Boulder Reporting Lab that Sheriff Curtis Johnson met with the family on March 10th after investigators reviewed all available evidence and the coroner completed the autopsy. There was no evidence Megan was physically harmed by another person. And I buy that. I mean, we did list some injuries.
Right.
But where's the evidence that those injuries were inflicted by another person versus maybe a fall down the ravine?
Yeah, we don't know what caused those.
Now, let's go back to this detective telling the family that the investigation would be broad, even with the focus on being on suicide, or the opinion being that it was a suicide. Is that the truth? Is that what really happened? I don't know.
I think the family feels as if it wasn't.
And I would say in a lot of cases, I could see where, there's only so much in the way of resources to go around. So if you have a homicide that is a homicide versus this case that you believe is a suicide, which case is going to get the resources?
Yeah, I get it. But why jump to the conclusion to label this case one thing or the other and not just leave it undetermined for now?
Yeah, I think that's one of the key things here. Deputy Coroner Colleen Hancock said the office followed the National Association of Medical Examiners Manner of Death Classification Guide, distinguishing suicide from accidental based on whether the act appeared intended to cause harm or death. The office considered multiple factors, including the law enforcement investigation, toxicology testing, and examination of the body. Vanessa told Boulder Reporting Lab that the bottle found in Megan's purse contained a slow-release prescription of Adderall, and the bottle found near her body contained immediate release. Megan had been taking Adderall since 2019. The parents also said that the empty pill bottles in Megan's room were not evidence of Megan stockpiling pills, but rather signs of her being a sloppy kid who didn't throw her pill bottles out.
I think a lot of people are guilty of that.
Yeah. I mean, just look around my basement.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff here that could be thrown out. Should be thrown out, but has not yet been.
I mean, I think every week I come here, they get closer to the stairs going up?
Oh, yeah, I'll kick them a few feet.
Yeah.
You know, box here, a box there.
But they have yet to make it out of the basement.
But I get it, Gibbs, right? The deputy coroner is saying, hey, we followed the guidelines. We looked at everything. And it seems to us to be more likely to be suicide. But is that conclusive?
Doesn't sound conclusive.
It doesn't to me either. So again, back to what is the harm for a period of time of leaving it as undetermined. Megan's parents argued that because the stomach contents were not tested, it was impossible to confirm all the pills were Adderall. Joe Trussell said there's no way that could be Adderall. Nobody in the world has that much Adderall. It's strictly regulated. Toxicology reports showed 1.99 nanograms or milliliters of amphetamine in Megan's blood, which was said to be a toxic level. Toxicology reports showed over 1,900 nanograms, milliliters of amphetamine in Megan's blood, which was said to be a toxic level. In fatal amphetamine-related cases, blood concentrations have been reported to begin around 500 nanograms or milliliters, according to Deputy Coroner Colleen Hancock. Other than phenylpropanolamine, which appears in a few over-the-counter drugs, the initial toxicology test for over a dozen substances did not reveal anything. So what do you make of this, Gibbs? To me, it does seem like she had a very high level of amphetamines in her system.
Yeah, so it comes down to, did she voluntarily take those? Or was it involuntarily?
Yeah, two choices, I think. The coroner's office agreed to test Megan's stomach contents in early June. Forensic pathologist Meredith Frank told the family in a June 4th meeting that the sheer quantity of pills in Megan's stomach led her to conclude suicide. According to a recording of the conversation obtained by Boulder Reporting Lab, Frank said in the recording, the only fatal condition is that her entire upper esophagus and stomach was filled with pill material. It's the most I've ever seen in my 14 years of experience. I have never seen this distension of the lumen and the esophagus by pill material. So, one question I think you have to ask is, would somebody really take that much?
That's a lot of pill swallowing.
It is. Now, if you were intent on killing yourself, do you know how many pills it's going to take, or do you just swallow as many as you can? And I think the same argument could be made if someone else forced her to swallow pills against her will. Do you know how much Adderall it would take, or do you just force as many as you have or can down someone's throat?
Yeah.
Coroner Jeff Martins told the family that the office is open to reconsidering a ruling if new evidence emerges. However, Frank told the family that even if the stomach contents showed a different substance, it wouldn't change her conclusion. She said she could have a completely other intoxicating substance that's not in the blood, but that wouldn't change how I've interpreted the case. So there's a couple of things there for me. Number one, what new evidence is going to emerge that would cause the office to reopen the case? That's one question. And then I think the second thing is the coroner basically saying it really doesn't matter what's in there. It wouldn't change her conclusion that she took it.
Yeah.
Herself and wasn't forced to take it. That's the way I'm reading that.
And that plays into her decision.
According to Boulder Reporting Lab, Megan's parents also questioned the blunt force injuries noted in the autopsy. We mentioned it, right? Chipped teeth, facial bruising on the arms and legs. However, pathologist Meredith Frank said these injuries were consistent with a fall. And I could absolutely understand that. You would have, at the very least, all of those injuries.
Yeah.
In a fall from any distance, into a ravine. On July 16th, the coroner's office published an updated autopsy report with the results of the test on Megan's stomach contents. The test confirmed only the presence of amphetamine and ethanol that was consistent with degradation of biological material. The coroner's office maintained that the amphetamine caused Megan's death, and the manner of death was suicide. Vanessa Diaz told Boulder Reporting Lab, "This doesn't really change anything for me. I knew that they would say whatever was in her stomach was something she took on her own, but I don't believe that. I still believe it was forced ingestion because of the hemorrhaging in her esophagus and the multiple injuries that they can't explain." Vanessa noted that Joe Trussell told her that 1,700 milligrams of amphetamine would equate to 68 of Megan's 25 milligram Adderall capsules, which she did not have available to her. Vanessa added 68 capsules is still nowhere near the 700 that it would take to make a softball-sized mass. I mean, if that's true, there is a little bit of mystery there.
Yeah.
Who in the heck can even swallow 700 pills if that's what it would really take? The other thing to consider is, Adderall has to be a controlled substance. I'm thinking.
Right.
I've never taken it. My kids didn't take it, so I don't know that for a fact. I'm assuming it is. So my thought is she wouldn't probably have 68 of them at a time, because even if you took 2 a day, you're probably only getting 60.
Yeah. I think the mom even said, or the dad did, that they were controlled.
So that means either she would have had to have saved them up for some period of time or gotten them from someone else. Megan's family launched the Justice for Megan Essentials Bag Project in hopes of connecting with the homeless community, which may lead to information about her death. They gave out bags full of hygiene items and snacks and informed people of a $1,000 reward for tips. I think it's a smart idea. Vanessa Diaz told CBS Colorado, "We're approaching this drive with care and hope, believing that someone out there may remember something. Even the smallest detail could matter."
Well, they're right. Any detail could make a difference.
It could, potentially. In July, Megan's family hired a PI to look into her death. One of the PI's responsibilities will be facilitating third-party evidence testing. When Vanessa asked the coroner to test the mass in Megan's stomach for food or other minerals, she was told a private lab would be needed. Megan's cousin, Rebecca Perez, started a petition on change.org, calling on Governor Jared Polis to have the Colorado Bureau of Investigation review the investigation conducted by the Boulder County Sheriff's Office. This September, Megan's family gathered on campus during Parents' Weekend at CU Boulder to raise awareness about her death and push for the case to be reopened. In a recent interview with People, Vanessa shared her theory that Megan was attacked after she left her dorm on February 9th to get a Diet Coke, which was her favorite drink. According to Vanessa, the one place she could buy a Diet Coke on campus was where her roommate worked, so she couldn't go there after they fought. I think she was going to Circle K or another convenience store. And then I think somewhere along that path, someone grabbed her. Someone took Megan's purse and she was pulled as she fought back, which caused the blunt force injuries. She was forced to take pills as a cover-up. Joe Trussell said the official conclusion seemed like an extremely elaborate way for someone who's never had a history to commit suicide. He emphasized that Megan hated hiking. Joe said Megan was a pretty well-adjusted person. She was a pretty well put-together woman, and nothing in her past behavior would point to that. I also find it extremely offensive, even though it's within their rights for the Boulder sheriff in their press release to say that she had amphetamine in her body when it was an Adderall prescription, because the public perception then becomes, oh, this is just a meth head who killed herself.
I understand his anger.
Yeah, I do too. Is it technically truthful? Yeah, I think it is. I didn't actually know Adderall was amphetamine. I don't know much about Adderall, to be honest with you.
But to put it out like that to the public, Could they have used better terminology?
Yeah, because I think in a lot of people's minds, there's a difference between just saying amphetamine and saying Adderall.
Yeah.
One being a prescription, one being thought of as an illicit drug, illegal drug, meth, or, something like that. Joe said they don't know where the extra pill material came from because Megan didn't have any Adderall beyond her normal prescription in her possession. The PI is still in the early stages of their work. Per people, Megan's parents are offering a $6,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest. So, Gibbs, as we wrap this one up, although the official investigation has ended, Megan's family, they're definitely still searching for answers. And because this is such a recent case, I think we're probably likely to see new developments in the coming months, maybe over the next year. When I boil this one down, I think you and I are both in agreement. What's the harm in saying that the death is undetermined?
None.
I don't know that there is one. Maybe there's something that I'm not thinking about. I get it. The family is not happy with that. They say she never had a history. And I'm sure that's true. But there have been people with no history of those thoughts or actions who have taken their life. That's not impossible.
No, but let's not rush to conclusions.
And I think that's the problem that most people have with it.
Yeah.
It's not that it couldn't be the case, but why are you saying it's the case just because maybe the evidence points a little more that way than any other way? It's still, in my opinion, not conclusive. So why rule it?
And why not just take the extra steps as the family wanted you to get to that point, if that's where it leads?
Yeah. Now, you could also make the argument that the family doesn't want to believe, right, that Megan ended her life, and they're never going to believe it.
Yeah, that's the case. But they also say, look, we know our daughter. We know her. And we just don't believe this is something she would ever do. And, parents feel like they really know their kids.
I get it, but sometimes parents are wrong.
It happens.
In those feelings as well. So, I think, to be fair, you have to look at both sides.
Yeah.
And I understand where the parents are coming from. Absolutely. Now, when you think about foul play, meeting someone intent on doing you harm, forced ingestion of pills in your purse, it seems like a strange way to go about it. Now, you can't rule it out.
No.
But it doesn't seem like the most likely scenario that an attacker would undertake.
But are you carrying 700 pills in your purse? That's a lot of pills to carry into a purse.
Yeah, if there really was 700 pills in there.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of mystery behind just exactly, how much was in her stomach. But it's mysterious for sure.
It is.
I think it's one we'll have to keep an eye on to see if something comes out, of it.
And I hope for the best for the family.
I do too. Again, I think in a perfect world, this thing could have been ruled undetermined. And I know the family would have been much happier with that.
Sure.
It may never have gotten to the bottom of it and may never still, but coming out so concretely in the favor of suicide, I don't know that had to happen. And I don't know if it's the right thing to do. It certainly isn't what the family wanted to have happen. That's for sure.
That's right.
But that's it for our episode on the death of Megan Trussell. Like I said, I think there will be more, hopefully, to come out. And like you said, we're really hoping that the parents get the answers they're searching for.
Yeah.
But we got a voicemail. You want to check that out?
Let's hear it.
Hi, Mike and Gibby. My name is Darian. I'm calling from New York. I have been a listener since last year. I never liked podcasts until I happened to stumble on Plenty Worse. And I've now just pushed myself to watch Unsolved. I'm on episode 26. I just wanted to give you guys a call and say hi. I really enjoy your podcast. And I have had a fantastic week and weekend because Gibby followed me on Instagram and even interacted with me a little bit through the comments. So I just want to say, Gibby, like, I don't know if you realize, but you're kind of like a little bit of a celebrity. And I shared that with everybody that would listen to me, that Gibby from TCAT followed me, and I'm just very happy about that. So thank you so much for really engaging with your fans. It really means a lot. I hope you guys have a great week, and I can't wait to catch back up on Unsolved, and maybe I will eventually hear my voicemail. Stay safe and keep your own time ticking.
All right. Love you. And thank you so much for leaving a voicemail. You will hear your voicemail.
Absolutely.
In 300 and some episodes.
Eventually when you get here.
Yeah. Now, I think she touched on something that we've kind of been talking about over the last week is you getting back on social media. Right. And it's huge because, you know, you did take a pretty long hiatus.
I did, over 3 years.
And you being back on and being able to, you know, communicate with fans. I mean, you just heard it from her. What a big deal it is.
Well, you know, I appreciate her call. You know, love her, and you know, we love our fans, and it's awesome. I really enjoy a lot of the comments that I'm getting about you, about me, about our podcast, and it's nice to see it. So
yeah, I mean, it's one thing to get a reply from like the official Facebook or Instagram, because that's, you know, might come from me, but they don't know it's me.
Yeah.
But it's totally different when it comes directly from Gibby.
Yeah.
That is kind of the end all be all.
Well, it's coming from me. Yeah. I don't know about that, but yeah, you can
No,
find
I
me.
think it is, man. I'm not blowing smoke up your wazoo.
Yeah. You can find me out there. Just search True Crime Gibby on your favorite platform, and you should find me.
Yep, absolutely. All right, buddy. That is it for another episode of True Crime All the Time Unsolved. So for Mike
and Gibby,
stay safe and keep your own time ticking.
September, CBS hits are streaming free on Pluto TV.
I'm coming in hot.
For this month only, you can watch full seasons of the CBS shows you love. From the courtroom drama of Matlock to the heroics of Fire Country. Go back to where it all began in NCIS Origins, or watch the hilarious hauntings of ghosts, all for free. Full seasons of the CBS shows you love. This month only on Pluto TV. Stream now, pay never.